was muted. Sorry. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Yes, we're happy to have Simon from Track&ROLL, a cloud-based HR management startup based out of Brunei. And we've also got Mr. Darren Tee, co-founder of GarGeon, a waste management system startup as well, based out of Malaysia. And then we've got Melly Ling, who is the co-founder and COO of Mole, an all-in-one networking solution startup, also based out of Malaysia. So this morning, we will be talking about the bootstrapping in the Southeast Asia context. To be more specific, would be like, how do we see bootstrapping? Is it a by default choice, or is it something like a philosophy here, in terms of like the way of building and growing business? Because venture capital industry in the region, and especially in markets like Brunei, it's still rather young or like nascent. So how then do we think about this, right? So yeah, we're very delighted to have three panelists here to join us. So maybe I will pose the first question to Simon, and Simon, you could shed some light with us on that. How do you see bootstrapping? Do you see it as a philosophy or a process? Yeah.
Hi, Paul. Thanks for the invites. Hi, Darren and Melly too, and morning to all attendees. Yeah, I personally, I feel like bootstrapping is a process. At the same time, it is also a philosophy. Especially depends on what stage of the startup you're in. I would say if you are belonging to the early stage of the startup, regardless whether you have got the money or you are really starting from scratch, it would be good to have a practice to go through a round of bootstrapping, more on to learn about the fundamental of how to start a business, right? Because I think the essence of bootstrapping is that you would have to go through with very limited resources and funds, sometimes even times. So going through that stage would give you a very good fundamental to how to manage all these things in the most efficient way. And I will say it as a process, because once you've gone through the process, that's the fastest way of learning it. And you would always, as a startup, I believe most of us would go through any time in our journey, you would always face a certain period of time where things is tough and all that thing. So it is a skill set that you need to know. It's like when you're in an exam, suddenly you are out of the calculators, and you still know how to do the fundamental of how to calculate things on the paper. So I think those is some skill set that has to be learned on the early stage. Yeah, but
right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Right. So do you share the same view as Simon, Darren?
Hi, morning, everyone. Thanks for
Morning.
having me here. Yeah, I think for me, based on my experience, because this is my first time startup, of course, other than bootstrapping, there's no other option for me. So I think we need to really understand the underlying logic of bootstrapping. So it can really help us to achieve a more efficient way towards our goal. We really learn a lot from bootstrapping, because from our experience, we have a lot of money or resources to help us to build our business. So what we can do here, we really need to prioritize or focus on what we can do and what we should do in order to get the return the bigger return with a very limited resources. Yeah.
Very good. So this disciplinary, it teach you about being disciplined, right? Like in your task management and the use of resources. What about you, Melly?
Morning, everyone. For me, I concur with Simon. I believe that bootstrapping is both a philosophy and also a practical process. Because philosophically, it's actually about self-reliance. And the thing about bootstrapping as a process, from how I see it, it's more on a practical basis. So to me, that's more like a bootstrapping as a process. For me, how I view it is actually a method for resourceful business growth. Like how to get there, like what are the steps for you to sustain, to grow your business, right? But on the philosophy side, it's more about like your internal self. You need that inner strength for you to keep on going into this bootstrapping journey. So that's more of like internal. It's you as a bootstrapper, and then as a process, what are the steps for you to scale your business or to even like validate your product among in the market. Yeah, so that's
right. I mean, isn't that the normal way of doing business, right? Or to start a business? I mean, before we all learn about, startups or like venture capital, I mean, the only stories that we hear from our uncles or parents is that, oh, if someone wanted, your uncle before how he started that business was like, he worked so hard, saved every penny, and then, he gone into the business and he started small, and then he will, reinvest whatever he earned and his resources. And then after that, slowly, gradually, he would grow the business to the point that when the banks are willing to lend the money, then that's how they would get the debt financing to grow the business. So if you think about it, isn't bootstrapping the default way of starting business until you have venture capital coming into the picture where they will be able to fund your business to grow faster? So in that light, do any of you see yourself raising capital or like accepting an investor's money to help you fuel the growth of your business? Maybe Melly, do you want to go?
So for my startup, Mole, we started as a bootstrap company. It was just purely based on passion, it was a passion project. And my co-founder and I, when we were doing this, we were technically just killing our time, just to pass our time also during COVID, and also to see where this goes, right? Because we were both burned out from our previous career, and also at the time I lost my job, so I was just like, I needed some time to just like clear my mind and just to also build something, because I'm always very passionate about building. So we didn't really have any plans in terms of like we want to raise funds, but I think it was at a stage where when during that 1 year when we were validating our product during our bootstrapping phase, we started to get traction, we started to get signups. So that was that moment where we were like, okay, this can actually be a business. And then we start to have that vision, the vision of what if like this can be something that it's not just within Malaysia, it can be, we see it expanding to other countries or even like globally, because it's a SaaS product, right? That's the thing about when you're a SaaS, you just need an email sign up and you can access in any countries. So then my co-founder, he started looking at accelerator programs, VC programs, and there was one program that he came about, which is from Antler. So Antler are a global early stage VC. And the reason why we actually look at that avenue was because that we were ready. We wanted to grow that business, and also we had that good enough traction for us to grow. And also we had inquiries, leads coming in from the enterprise B2B business, but they are nowhere like near to get us on board because we're just a 2-person show. They want like, oh, I want to see your team. You need to have like a big team. If what if the server breaks down and all?
Right.
Can you support that a lot? If you're just a 2-person show and you build your software from your garage, that will not happen. So at that time, that was also another driving factor that moved us to, why not we try to go and try to get
raise some
grants,
funds,
try to raise some funds. So we participated, we entered into Enter program, and that was the first time we actually raised our first pre-seed funding.
Right.
So
and how much was that? Would you want to share that with the crowd?
So we raised $110,000.
Wow.
So
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's so daunting because I'm like a first-time founder to get, but not my co-founder. My co-founder, he's been in this space for quite some time. So it's just that now that my company is no longer a bootstrap company, we are now scaling, we're growing. So now we
have to transition between that.
Yeah, so we have investors that we need to be accountable. We have to also like update them. When you're a bootstrap founder, you technically don't have anyone to report to. There's no pressure. The only pressure is just you and then your customers.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And Darren, I know that you have been hitting your sales revenue targets. You've been closing big enterprises deals, and you've been earning good, like income flow. And are you now beginning to think that it's time for you to expand and scale your business, or what are your plans?
Yeah, we always think about how we can grow our business faster, and whether or not we need like external resource like funding to get ourselves to achieve the next level. But before that, we really need to think about whether we are ready for the funding. Right? Before we really go for the external resources, we have to think about whether we have a very strong and solid fundamental of the business model that is really working, and you really get people. You have to really think about why you are exit, and whether after you get the funding, are you really able to like achieve their expectation? You can grow like 2x, 3x every year. Yeah, so we are still in the process on get ourselves ready in terms of the product wise, in terms of the management wise, and then this is what we are keep on doing right now. We are focusing on more on like how we can bring more value to our client, and then focusing on our product development, whether our product is ready for the scale. Yeah, I think once we are ready, I think the environment will tell you, and I think the timing will come when you are ready to get the funding. Yeah.
Would you mind to share with us to date how much your revenue your company have generated all by yourself as a bootstrap company business?
Right now we have hit around 1 million ringgit annually.
Okay, annually.
Annually.
And since when were you founded, your this GarGeon business?
Around 2018, 2017 or 2018 something. Yeah, but our product launched since last year, January.
Okay. Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Now, Simon, coming to you, I know that you have been trying to search for investors who are aligned with your expansion strategy, because you're now thinking outside the border of Brunei. You're thinking of like regional markets, and one of the market that you're looking to enter into is the Malaysian market, since we last caught up. So what about you? What's your strategy there as you're thinking, to expand out from, bootstrapping and trying to transition? And because you want to transition, you want to look for, external funding help.
Okay. I in that sense, I totally agree with what Darren have said just now. I think like I said, bootstrapping is a process, and it's also a philosophy, right? Because ideally, if we do not need to rely on anyone, like what Melly was saying, then we do not have to respond to anyone. Like we have the free hand to do what we want to do. It could be good and bad. Sometimes you just need a teacher behind you just to kick your ass a bit, just like, hey, have you done your homework, that kind of things. So, but regardlessly, there's going to be a certain level of commitment that you putting yourself into. And again, I think the whole process of bootstrapping in the initial stage give you force you to build and recognize your validation of your business model, your cash flow, your validation of your products, your pain point that you're serving to your customers, and all those things. Like if you have a strong fundamental evidence of all that thing, naturally you should be able to survive by yourself in that sense, right? If it doesn't, means that you haven't struck the right notes yet lah. And if you do, I believe that Darren said that's going to be the right time where you are prepared to go for it, because when you are hungry, you don't go back for food, because people would just eat you like a shark tank, right? So I think having the fundamental ready is a key point. Would I object fundraising? I don't think so, right? Because bootstrapping, like I said, is a process, and it's also a philosophy. So I personally believe that we should not be putting all focus on doing bootstrapping for every single task. I learned this from the Chinese, right? The Chinese. So they always believe that if you are trying to bootstrap everything, then you would be using the cheapest form and the most efficient way, or so-called the most efficient way, to try out everything in the market, or the strategies that you can think of. But that also limits yourself to, like, if there's 50 ways of doing it, but you will be doing the two most safest way, right? So you may miss out on some of the ways that might fail, but also might flip you up to a bigger side. And if you're using your own money, chances are you would strap off every risk that you can. You hire an auntie to do your account or whatever, but you will be focusing more on saving money than growing your company. So I think, to that sense, where investor monies comes into that, you already have a fundamental understanding of things. Using that money to try more things and explore more opportunities, I think that's a more comfortable way to do it for yourself, and also for responsibility for the company. So.
Right. Very interesting. So Melly, since you're the only one here who have raised, money, like a VC money, Antler is a type of accelerator / VC, right? So like what Simon says, how do you then transition, like from playing safe, like you said, you started out as a passion project, and then now, you're thinking, okay, I'm ready to scale, but right now I've got monthly investor updates that I need to keep up to, and then quarterly KPIs that I need to keep up to. This morning we had a session with Ben Yoskovich, talking about lean analytics, talking about how we should measure all of the fundamentals metrics that we could help you to grow. And then so when you have this money, what to sort of like ram into all this moving parts, the flywheels, to make it spin faster, to grow faster. So how do you transition that kind of like safe, slow growth thinking to like, okay, now that I know all this flywheels or growth loops, that what works, and then now receiving this money, I'm just gonna, it's like dumping kerosene into a burning fire?
Good question. Well, definitely the pressure is different. Once after we raised the funds from Antler, But for both of us, for my co-founders and I, we are very, I would say, very blessed to have that mindset that we understand that at whatever point, there's always going to be pressure, right? Pressure will always be pressure. I think it's always about just being very clear with the goals, metrics, and also even at the time when we were bootstrapping, even though there's just two of us, but we were working very hard. We were progressing in a way where I don't think like we could actually, if we're gonna, I mean, because we took like about 3 months to build an MVP, and then the fourth month we started selling, right? And that's just one full stack developer. My co-founder, he built everything, and the UI, UX, everything. Like we built everything within like 3 months, and I had the marketing up with almost like less than 1,000 ringgit just to run. We did ads, but that didn't work out. But what really worked out really well for us was we rely a lot on like TikTok to build in live, because at that time it was very popular. So that really helped us to expedite the process of validating our product. So in hindsight, like looking back, I would say that the pressure is always there. Just that right now, after getting funded, the pressure is a bit different. It's just because that now the pressure has more defined metrics. This metrics is what aligns the investors and us, so that we stay on the same page in terms of the product readiness and where are we. But there's no like stringent timeline in terms of like, oh, the investors like are pushing us for our next fundraising. They did give us that year, which they just gently let us know like, oh, okay, how is like next year looking like for you guys for fundraising? To get there, where are you guys right now in terms of your product readiness? So essentially, this fundraising that we had is essentially to help us to build our app, our networking app, which we didn't have that funds to do, to build during the time when we were bootstrapping, right? So in a way, it's this helped us to expand our product, to diversify our product. So that's the point where when we get this pre-seed funding, it's to help us to build this MVP. So we're building another MVP.
Like a version 2.0. Sort of.
Sort of. It's an entirely new thing. So
right. I see.
So once the product is ready, then there would be like, the whole getting users, getting not sales at the moment for this MVP, because it's really new, but more about like getting like the usability,
engagement and whatnot.
Like all this traction, retention rate, growth rate. So these are really important for us to basically give us the to get ready for our next fundraising.
Right.
Yeah.
So Darren, as Simon have shared earlier, like bootstrapping, sometimes it teach you to be disciplined, play safe. One of the play safe strategy is to get your family and relatives, to work with you. Well, you're a great example. Your GarGeon, it's built by you three brothers, right? Can you shed some light on us with that? Like, who are the people behind GarGeon, and how big is your size currently?
Yeah, our company actually founded with my eldest brothers, and then my youngest brother joined in after the company had been run for 2 years, 2 to 3 years, 2 years, I think. Yeah.
After he graduated from studies.
Yes.
So what does your eldest brother do? What do you do? And what does your youngest brother do?
Because 3 of us, our background, we graduated from major in business. So we have no idea about the architecture of the system. We have no idea, I can say totally zero knowledge about the coding, everything, and we are doing the tech business. So of course, throughout the journey, we learn, we really like get our hands dirty, like talk to the industry player, talk to the customer, to really understand what is their problem. And then from there, we know what to build, how to build our stuff, everything. So my eldest brother, Jackie, he is doing the, I can say he's like a project manager. He's dealing with our outsourced developer team, and then he doing the architecture, the flowing UI of the system, and
like product management.
Yep. And my younger brother is a sales I can say is a salesperson. He will talk to the client, he can go and site visit, close sales. He's doing this, and I'm the one who doing the business development, talk to our supplier, talk to our strategic partner, and to make sure everyone, three of us, have the same vision, same direction to run the business. This is how we do. We can actually, you can imagine three of us, we have no like specific skill set or everything, but everything we work together. When it comes to the software problem, three of us will sit down, go to the meeting room, and see what is the problem, and we let's brainstorm and see how we can solve it.
So this is
the way we do.
Your first business and first startup, right?
Yep.
Okay. Right. Thank you for sharing that. And Simon, how big is your team right now? And where are you at your business milestone right now? Sorry, Simon, you need to unmute yourself. Yeah, so we can see you and can hear you. Okay.
Right. I'm currently with 12 people. Looking forward to expand it to another, maybe 1 or 2 more next year, because yeah, basically we'll be sticking with the same teams. Trying our original. Okay, so where are we now? We are probably one of Brunei largest HRMS system at the moment here. But because Brunei is so small, so it can't compare with Malaysia and all that things for now. But we're doing quite okay this year, I would say. Securing like
any milestone you want to share with us, like numbers wise, if it's shareable.
I'm sure it's shareable, but it's just nothing huge in Brunei scale. We secure like more than 3,000 subscribers in Brunei.
Still an achievement.
Significant in Brunei population. We're trying to raise a fund last year. Well, I mean this year, still 2023. But failed to find an investor that is aligned with the vision of the company. So I said it's okay. We will continue to grow the company to further
continue
grow.
Searching,
not desperate, but continue to build on ourselves to further strengthen the products and value to the customers. If we can go to a point that we can go without our investor, that's great. But if everything is right with the investors, timing, everything is good, I'm more than happy as well. Like I said, I would wanted to do something, dare to do something more than with what the resources that we have, right? Because I think there's a lot more other options that we haven't tried yet. But we are just doing the safest route at the moment. So our next milestone to hit for next year is to continue to solidify the Brunei markets, and also at the same time building our pathway to either enter Malaysia or Indonesia. So I think
So how do you think about, as a bootstrapping company, when resources, especially finances and manpower, are limited? How do you think about collaboration and partnerships with other, whether it's other companies or even it could be like a fellow, like companies within your industry? I'm not sure. Like, how do you look at that? Or you go across different industry where it can complement you, where both of you can help and grow with one another, kind of thing.
Who, me?
Yep.
Oh, I'm always open for collaborations. But finding the right one is kind of tricky, and it's very scarcities here in Brunei. So there's not much of options to look around. But we keep our eyes and ears open, because I believe you can't handle everything yourself. So the best way to scale is really to collaborate. But you also have to find the right partners and the right mindset and the right commercial agreement that really benefits everyone's, me, them, and also our end value customers.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you've got Melly, who's based in KL, Darren, who's based in Johor. So anytime, right? Since you have a target to enter into Malaysia. Now, Melly, same questions to you. And since you are one of our community partners, how do you, as a bootstrapper, but right now, since you've got a pre-seed, but still, we're in the early space, how do you look at and think about collaborations and partnerships with other companies to fuel your growth?
That has always been part of my business strategy. Collaboration, partnership is so essential to build the business. It's not just about like for me, partnership, it's alone you can do so little, together you can do a lot. So that has always been my philosophy. That's why I love doing partnerships. A lot of things that I do at Mall, we do a lot of collabs with brands, mainly like event organizers, because we're in the networking space. And also we do sell digital card management solutions to enterprise companies. So the thing about when we do collaboration, we collaborate when it comes to like content marketing, because nowadays every brand wants to get their brand out there, and the fastest way to do that is through content, and not to appear too salesy, and not to make more ads on what they're trying to promote about their product. So a lot of brands, they're actually shifting to making contents that adds value. So this can be in the form of like a thought leadership content. So in this case, like for us, for Mo, we normally we work together. We collaborate in terms of like content marketing. So I'm running this series right now for entrepreneurs. So we have a community of entrepreneurs for Mo, where we are helping entrepreneurs in Malaysia to promote themselves, and also not just about to promote, but I think the most importantly is to actually to show their struggles as an entrepreneur. So
like a support system for one another as well.
Right, like a support system. And why we're doing this is because that number one, it basically shows that like the content is real. That's what we always want to do. Two is we want people to reach out to us for help. Right? So most of entrepreneurs or like aspiring entrepreneurs, they're always struggling. They don't know how to get started in their business, or they don't even know how to like validate their product, or if they're looking for fundraising, they don't know where to start, right? I mean, even though there are resources out there you can Google, but at the end of the day, it's like we all know how all this works. You need to have connections, right? You need to know people that can actually pull you into like what MDAT or
Correct.
like Gobi. So for us, like so that's how we build our community. So through partnership. So whenever we do collaboration, it's always through.
Right. So as a very early, young, small, bootstrapping startup in the past, and when you're approaching all these brands, I'm sure some of them may be very big brands. So I'm sure you must have faced some, like some challenges in even trying to access them because they're so big, whether they want to even entertain you and stuff. Like, what are some of the struggles there do you find when you're approaching these so-called big boys, big companies?
Interesting question. This was is this like before? Okay, I mean during my bootstrapping days, right?
Well, yeah, you can share like bootstrapping days, or even if you're facing with them right now, but especially in the bootstrap context.
Okay, bootstrap.
And then how do you overcome that?
I would say when we were bootstrapping more, the collaboration with big brands, it's almost impossible because we were so new. Like, who are we, right? But there was a lot of but that didn't stop me. My co-founder and I, we still went out to reach out to big brands. But these brands are basically people that we know that are working at these companies. So that really helped us to try our luck. But even so, when we put out our proposals and all, in terms of collaborating with them, it was almost like a no, because we were so new, right? But however, I think there's one. So my ex-boss, he's now working in the shipping line. It's a really big company. It's like a worldwide company, and because he knew that I was building this business, and I just asked him, like, do you wanna
help
try
support
our product, right? So that always helps, right? When you reach out to people that you know and you tell them a little bit about your brand, and because all of these peers, your family and friends, they are also working in an organization, so that really helped us. But I would say it was a lot of struggles. There was a lot of wait, a lot of convincing, a lot of persuasion to do. But after we got funded, and then when we got in the news, that really helped us to get more opportunities that just flood in our email.
But before that, obviously, it sounded like networking and connection would help, right?
We hardly do networking back then. We were too busy building product.
I see.
But more like just organic reach out to our friends and family. So more like a recommendation.
Then slowly from there.
Yeah.
Now, Darren, because you have your, like, all of you, well, maybe Melly is more also B2C front facing, but Darren, your business and Simon's business are very B2B. And in your field, obviously you would be facing all this because you're in the waste industry. So even like last time you shared with me, like you will be talking to companies where they are like haulers or like they are big waste companies. So obviously they're large enterprises. So in the beginning, when you first started out in that context where when you're facing all these giant enterprises, and how easy was it for you to even put your foot through the door, or like were how many doors slammed on you, like until you really make through until where you are today?
Yeah, it is not easy. We got rejected a lot, but you need to really find out what is your value to them and approach to them. You need to really understand what is their pain point, what is their needs, and then when you approach to them, you say, hey, I got something that I can solve your problem. This is what we normally do. So of course, sometimes you need to like fake it to make it, because you are small and we are like so young. How am I feel secure to hand over my business to you to do management everything? So yeah, of course, at the early time, we don't have any like traction or everything, but we just fake it. Yeah, we actually have like a lot of the similar company have been using our software to manage their system. They just believe it, And then after we close them, and then we figured out how to make it. But of course, it turned out the result is good, and we got how to say, they satisfied our business, everything, our software. So yeah, and then throughout the process, we try to understand what's their needs, and then how to refine our product, and always listen to them, give them a 24-hour support. Once they have any problem with the software, everything, okay, then we can reply to them, respond to them immediately. Let them to feel like you are really cared about them, you really like there for them to solve their problem. So I believe there must be some company they're willing to, you know, try out your product and work together with you.
So how do you feel when you have to do something like that? Like, does it go against your principles or your integrity when you have to sort of like fake it till you make it kind of thing? When, you know, there's no one to help us, you know, there's no one to lend a helping hand, everybody is shutting their doors. And then if this is the only way out and you have no choice but to get yourself to do something that you're not proud of, like, did you feel foul with that, or like you were okay? And was it a strategy that you still employ, or was it just in the beginning and after you've got your first customer, then you started to roll on, you know, from your, you know, your that kind of like achievement, your customer acquisition?
Yeah, I don't think it's a fault. I mean, it is just a way to approach. Of course, our mission is to help them solve their problem, solve their management problem, everything. But at the very first beginning, of course, there will be someone who willing to try or take the risk, everything. And we are lucky enough to have a few beta users who are willing to accept our flaws of our product and still willing to use it and give us feedback. And of course, we fake it to make it doesn't mean like we cheat on you and then do nothing after that. We just need the opportunity, we just need the chances to let you try out my product. And of course, during the process, after they apply our software, there is a lot of the problem behind. There is an operation problem, there is a bug, there is a lagging the software, everything. Of course, we receive a lot of the complaints, but how we handle those complaints and the issue is we give them the instant response. You see, I can say after they raise a problem, within like 1 day or few days, we can come up with a new feature to solve that problem, to really meet their operation needs.
Right. So more of like selling confidence, you know, like
something like that.
Then after that, once you got it, then So Simon, now in the Bruneian context, where public sector seems to be the dominant, you know, like economy goal, you know, so sort of like a system where, you know, almost everyone's selling to the public sector, and that's what because of the system of the country, you know, that's also where most of the small companies are, you know, pitching their sales to, you know, as a customer. Do you face this kind of like, you know, big boy looking down at you, small boy, this kind of issue, you know, in this way that Darren had explained? Did what Darren shared earlier resonate with you as well in terms of experience, your past experience?
By the way, when you said public sectors, you mean government sectors and other things?
Yeah, like government-linked companies or agencies, when you're trying to sell a solution to them or get tender for government projects.
Okay. First of all, we do not deal with government's projects. So our solution is strictly for SMEs. But we do deal with we do encounter a couple of those GLC, which is like government-linked company, and of course major companies, bigger one, medium size and small as well. I think I have a slightly different approach than Darren in that sense. because Brunei is really small. I mean, if you guys have been to Brunei, you know how small it is, right? So everyone seems to know everyone. So reputation and profile it play a big role in here. I would do something similar, but I wouldn't fake it to make it. I wouldn't dare to even use that kind of mindset to approach things, because yes, we do give very fast response and support, but the thing is, I also experienced that the system that we are developing require quite a bit of time. It's not like I can like quickly pull something up and build a new modules within a couple of days. So I really do not dare to promise anything that is not, that I know is beyond my abilities. Initial stage, definitely rejection is just part of the games. But and knowing that Brunei market is not very big, right? So the strategies that I play is I would like segregate out what is the market that is achievable by me at this stage and what is not, right? So for those companies, those bigger ones that I know I would love to have their brands on my portfolio, but I also know that I at this stage would not be able to service them. I would not even look for them at all, because most of these companies will only have one chance to talk to you. If you fail them on the first conversation, chances are it will take a lot more harder for you to make another appointment to see you back again. So I measure the risk of like engaging with clients pretty carefully at early stage. So going through, like regardless whether I have network in there or not, it doesn't matter. Like if they are, so I would more be measured on the scale of the needs of the customers that is closer to what I am able to fulfill. So when your supply match their demand, that's
right.
End of the day, that's how you close sales, right?
Right.
So I'll go on and then even with that sectors of the market, you will have early adopters as well. So it's not everyone is willing to try on someone who have no idea who you are, what you do. Yeah,
that's right.
So again, putting into the scarcity, it's going to be challenging, but
of course.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Well, unfortunately, folks, we are running out of time, but we only have, I think, less than 10 minutes for a few questions, which we actually have some questions from the floor. So I'll just leave it open. Any of you want to grab it first, you can volunteer yourself. There are actually 3 questions. Maybe there's, one for each of you. The first one is, what strategies can bootstrap startups employ to attract talent, expand their reach, and build a strong brand reputation?
I can take this one.
Okay.
Yeah, when this is the strategy I've been applying for all these times. This is my third startup, actually. So like I'm a sales guy, I'm a business guy, so I have no ideas on much on the programming and all that, even though I'm in the tech business. So but I know I need someone who can program, right? And I can't hire them. So the easiest way is you find someone who can do that, and then you sell your dream to it and let them attract them to be one of your co-founders. That you don't have to pay them, right? Abuse them.
No, but okay, so you find a co-founder first, then you get a co-founder to help you, and then to build it from there. Wonderful. So so the next question is, how did your family and friends react when you expressed a desire to pursue a career in business, considering the stereotypical expectation in many Asian backgrounds for professions like doctors or engineers? Anybody want to take this between Melly and Darren? Or
I'll go for this because I'm a woman here. So well, my parents were very worried, especially because women, we don't age fine like a wine like how men do.
Really? We age better? No. Well,
yeah,
some
you
women
guys age better.
too.
As women, we have our biological clock, our bodies, and we.
But you have SK2.
We have like a stage, like when it's time to settle down, and then when it's time to start a family, and our body needs to be ready for that. So that's why it's very common right now. You hear like women are freezing their eggs right now. Yeah. So I just share this with you guys. So I've passed my 20s. I'm in my early 30s. And when I was thinking about entering into this journey, building a bootstrap company using all of my savings with my co-founder savings, it was a lot, because like I was thinking about, oh crap, Melly, like will you ever get married in the future? Or we have kids next time. But if you spend so much time building your company, my whole life is just revolving the company. Seriously. Like I sleep, I think about my company. I wake up, I think about my company. I go for yoga. That's the only time where I don't think about my company for 1 hour. But then after that, I think about it again. So technically, it's basically life, right? My life is my company. So as a woman in your 30s, normally most females in your 30s, they're already looking to settle down, right? So having that said, of course, naturally my family is worried. My parents are worried. Oh, what's gonna happen? Are you sure about this? And I'm like, yeah, because this is part of my dream, being an entrepreneur, and being a first-time founder, building a tech company. That's always been something I'm very passionate about. And I won't be able to do this when I'm like in my 40s, because when I'm in my 40s, I believe my body clock would work differently. And life is just so unexpected, right? So I just decided to just go with the flow, and I took that leap of faith, and my parents have been very supportive towards my
So
goal.
has it changed right now, especially after you're funded by Antler?
I'm still the same, but I think I'm more chill right now because I'm very impatient. I think that impatience actually came from my previous career when I was working for a Korean company and Singapore company. So when you're in that culture, right, everything is like chop, 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 very fast and super kiasu, right? But being by my own, with my co-founder, I had to take a big step out of that structure mindset, because that's not scalable at all for a startup. So whatever that we do right now, we do the opposite. We do things that are scalable, right? So I would say no, I'm still the same old Melly, but right now I'm more chill.
But what about your family and friends? Do they see and do they have more faith and confidence in you right now, especially after you've got...
Of course, they're like,
it will change, right?
They're very proud of me, but also they're also still worried. Like,
of
don't
course,
get to have that small little door, for your life, and that life is very important. It's not all the time.
The previous channel, we've got the superpower couple who ran Hacker Noon sharing about how it works for them. And then one of the joke was like, well, either marry your co-founder or find someone to join you and then get as a co-founder, then marry the person. But yeah, anyway, just kidding. But you can actually catch that. I mean, they're amazing, and then they shared their very amazing stories as a married couple doing that. But thank you for sharing, Melly. All right, so the last question here is, I suppose now Darren, this will go to you. Have you ever run out of money or almost run out of money or resources? If so, how did you deal with it and were able to rise back up again?
We don't have really like the experience of like run out the money, but we
deep pockets.
no lah. I mean, of course we know it is the way how you start the business. You doesn't need to like really spend like a lot of money to run the business. How we do, I will share my experience. At first, we don't have any software, everything. We don't have, and we don't even know like how much we need to build the software, everything. So in order to make the product works, what we do, at first we run as a broker, like matching. We go and find a business and match and connect to our partner. From there, we earn some commission. This is how we start the business. So, and then we have the money rolls in and then invest back to the product. And of course, I think it's a very important journey for us to build the right product, because during the I can say the agent, everything, we understand their needs, we understand the industry knowledge, everything. Throughout the process, we learn a lot of their problems, their operation, what is the problem happening in the market, everything. And then we only spend money on building the product, everything. This is how we do to make sure you don't spend a lot of money on something that cannot return into a result. Yeah.
Well, that's the concept of bootstrapping, right? To build with the least resources that you've had, and then to reinvest your resources that you have earned, and then after that just sort of grow.
Because if you just started the business and then you hiring a lot of people coming in, or you rent a very big fancy office, everything, of course you are going to spend the money on something not necessary. So we have the very limited money, so we really need to focus on something that can bring us the higher return, not really in terms of the money, but also result, idea validation, everything.
So when did you three brothers move out from operating off your home to in a co-working space? Because I know that you are now at a co-working space, right?
Yep.
For how long?
For how long? I think 2 years ago.
Okay.
2 years ago, after we have the budget to rent an office, to have a better environment, for us to can focus on our business. Then we
focus
only
on the right thing, right?
Yeah. If at the beginning you don't really need an office, to be honest.
Yeah.
You just need someone that can really your idea, whether your idea, your concept is proof, and or you really get the business or the money they pay you, then only consider other things. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, all three of you, Simon, Melly, Darren, for making time to share your struggles and challenges as a bootstrap founder. But unfortunately, we have to end this, as much as I like to continue this. But if I may ask each of you to share a short, 30-second or to a bite-sized kind of advice to an aspiring bootstrap founder, what would that be? So beginning from Darren, Melly, and then Simon, then we'll close from there.
For me, just be focused on what you do now, and deep down into it, figure out the problem, solve it. The journey is just solving the problem. Yeah.
Then once you are solving the problem, the returns and the good things will just fall into places. Okay. All right. Thank you, Melly.
For me, it will be simple. Before you actually embark on your bootstrapping journey, ask yourself this question: are you willing to take risk? Are you willing to walk that road of pitch black darkness? Because it's going to be so uncertain, so uncomfortable, lots of scary rides. And it does not mean that if you see a bootstrap founder that's very successful in his company, it's going to be the same as yours. So are you ready for the ugly side of the bootstrap journey? If you say yes, then great. And the second thing would be to help you to identify that, ask yourself about the problems that you're trying to solve. Make sure that you're solving a problem with a painkiller solution, not a vitamin solution. If you're doing a vitamin solution, then I would say don't do bootstrapping. Yeah, do something that you are solving a big problem that is a painkiller. You're creating this painkiller drug. And third one is enjoy it. Enjoy to fail and rise back again. Yeah.
That's the only way we learn. Thank you, Melly. And Simon.
Well, I think Melly have said everything I need to say. I think it's really are you prepared to play the game? I think this is one of the craziest journey. I think, of course, the more practical side of looking at things is, are you financially capable of sustaining yourself during the journey, right? Because the investment that you're trying to use on this one, no one can tell would it fail or would it make it good. No one can tell, right? And it's going to be so dark and lonely. It's terrible, right? But if I were to choose to do it again, I probably would, because it's so fun as well. So I be mentally prepared for it. The rest is just problem can always have a solution if you're determined to do it.
Wonderful. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Simon. Thank you, Melly. Thank you, Darren. It's a pleasure to have all three of you on this session, and to have this chat and to have you share your stories with your audience. We'd love to do this again in the future. So thank you. And unfortunately, right now we have to wrap things up. And yeah.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Nice meeting you guys, everyone. Darren. Yeah, Melly, Darren.
Yeah.
I'll see you in KL.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's catch up.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.